So
Who knew?
Alright.
Who knew I'd be the creative one out of the two of us?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you are the one who's got a brain out of the two of us. Right, anyway, let's do it. Cool. So, welcome back to Featuring Regular People. This week, we are speaking to a guest that I'm very familiar with, because he happens to be my brother. This is Luke. He is currently at uni in Warwick, smashing out the bodybuilding game at the moment. So we're just going to be having a bit of a chat about, all things gym and uni based. How are you, mate? You all right?
yeah, I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Good.
Yeah, good man. Thanks for coming on as well. It's it's nice to have you on.
That's all right. I was looking forward to coming on once Khan first mentioned it to me.
Well, yeah, because
sounds good.
When me and Luke first conceived this idea, you were obviously one of the first people.
Conceived.
Yeah, conceived.
Lovely.
It sounds a little bit sus.
Oh. Fuck you. All right. When we first thought of this idea, well, I say thought of, podcasts are quite a big thing. We didn't think of them, but when we decided to do one, you were one of the first people that I wanted to have on, just because, well, easy access. I know you very well, given that we're related, and you're always available because all you do is smash the gym out and not much else. But that certainly shows. You've been today?
I'm not at uni. Don't worry. No.
Oh yeah. I see. How's uni going? All right.
Yeah, it's good. I haven't had much to do the start of this term, so I've just been focusing on my essays. But because I've only got one thing to do, I'm like, I don't want to do it yet because then I've got nothing to do.
Yeah, I'm like that way at the moment with mine as well. There's just nothing left.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I've almost finished that off.
Oh, bloody hell, this is going to get a nightmare all the way through, saying like, because Luke, you're also at uni at the moment as well, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. Should we refer to me as Podcast Luke and then just Luke for your brother Luke instead of brother Luke, because that makes him sound religious?
Yeah, the brother thing is actually quite jokes. Makes it sound like we're monks.
Yeah, definitely not. They wouldn't accept us.
No, we wouldn't get in just based off the fact we're related to our dad. But yeah, man. Well, kind of the main thing I wanted to get you on to chat about, obviously, when we link your Instagram, this will become apparent to anyone as well, is like your sort of fitness journey, gym journey kind of thing. Because I'm a bit pissed off, mate, personally, because would it be like 3 or 4 years ago now? Probably 4, getting on for 4 years ago.
I think it was the summer of GCSEs.
Which was what?
That would have been 3 years ago, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because you're only 19, aren't you?
Yeah.
Right, so yeah, I took you down the gym, showed you what was what, and you just decided to not stop going ever and have fucking left me well behind. So, did you just have that instant addiction to it? Or, like, what was it that just made you never stop, basically? Because I don't know if Podcast Luke, you can attest to this, but for me, it's always, apart from in the last year, like the gym has always been a very stop-start thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so why was it not like that for you?
Well, I'd definitely say for the first year or so, I was just sort of going through the motions, like a lot of people that you see at the gym. And then I don't really know when it was, but there was just a point where it was clicked. It was like, actually, I really like just demolishing myself in the gym. And that's when, I sort of first looked into bodybuilding and learning a bit more about it, whether that be different techniques, that kind of thing. Sorry.
No, go on.
Yeah, and then I actually looked at the powerlifting. Well, it's majority powerlifting at Warwick Barbell, and that's one of the reasons why I sort of applied to come here. And I thought, well, I'll give this a shot. And obviously because of COVID, like the meets got cancelled and that sort of thing. But when I was doing more of a powerlifting program, I didn't like I've got to sit here and rest for like 3 to 5 minutes, to be fully recovered and then do another 3 reps. I'm like, well, I could have done like a whole exercise here.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I messed about with powerlifting for a little while, but yeah, it was the 5x5. So you literally do 5 reps and then you have got to sit there for 5 minutes. And my gym sessions just used to take like 2 hours. And mate, I've got such a shit attention span. I can't sit there for 2 hours, do that, and then sit there for 5 minutes. Because after 5 minutes, you're like, actually, I might as well just fuck off home because I'm bored. But is that why you've made the change from powerlifting to bodybuilding? Because when I spoke to you, like, not even, it's probably less than a year ago, it was all powerlifting for you, and you wanted to compete and everything. Was that why the change was?
I am still definitely going to do a powerlifting competition at some point, but I just think that at the moment I'd like to put as much size as possible, because at the end of the day, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle. So it's not like it's not going to benefit me. And like what you were saying about the 5x5s is, I still do that, but it will be a cluster set. So I'll have like 15 seconds rest in between and just absolutely destroy myself.
Sounds horrible.
It's great fun.
A fucking
although
cluster set.
Yeah, although I do get a few dodgy looks from like the staff and other people at the gym. They're like not very impressed with me. But...
Well, I'm not surprised, mate. Because I sent your Instagram to Podcast Luke just before we did this, and mate, I look at your Instagram. I'm not surprised you get dodgy looks, some of the shit you're chucking about and stuff like that. But yeah, mate, you crack me up. So when you designed my workout program for me, I sent it to Podcast Luke. I was like, oh yeah, have a go at some of this stuff. This is what my brother gets me to do, and it's clearly working for him. And then like you read the descriptions of it, it's like fucking cluster set, drop set, super set, all these fucking different things, mate. You're killing it. Where did you, like, so for me, what I always found difficult with the gym is like knowing what to do, like kind of came naturally to me, but then it's like retaining all the information from because there's so many different platforms out there where you can like get advice and you can look at different workouts and stuff. And I always really struggled with retaining all that information and then like finding the right way to apply it all. Is that something you've not really struggled with, or have you just kind of like followed your own advice in that respect?
Oh no, I've definitely struggled with it. Like, the internet is a great place, but now there is definitely too much knowledge, and there's people who don't really know what you're talking about. So like what you should actually do gets diluted a little bit. That's why I'm gonna get a coach when I hopefully prep at the beginning of next year for a show. And then I'll bring them on from like October time, I think, just to do a bit of the structured off season. But at the moment I'm just pushing food as hard as I can, really, and making training progressively harder.
And when you say prepping for a show, this is a bodybuilding show, yeah? Yeah,
bodybuilding competition. Diet down for the first one, and like it's going to be a whole different type of challenge. Like I like the challenge for an hour and a half in the gym, but can I hack it for 12 to 16 weeks? You know what I mean? Like that's what the goal for the first one is, just to make it there realistically.
Yeah.
Like I don't care how I place it. Maybe at some point I'd like to win a show, but the first one I just want to get on stage.
You just want to get it done, yeah, so that you know you can do it, and then worry about progressing more as you go on.
Yeah, be comfortable with like the package that I brought, if that makes sense. But obviously there's going to be weaknesses and places, like areas that need to work on. What are you laughing at?
He's immature. He's laughing at the fact that you said package.
No, do you know why I'm laughing? I'm sorry. Do you know why I'm laughing?
No, it's because of the trunks, isn't it?
Yeah, because
Okay.
in bodybuilding, they've always got like the little Y fronts, like they're literally just basically in these little fucking banana hammock shorts. And it's just the fact that as soon as you said about it, I was thinking about that, and then you said package, so it just all.
Well, it would depend on what class I actually compete in, because there's physique, classic, and bodybuilding now. Physique is like the board shorts, which I would consider depending on how much my legs
get tanned and.
Yeah, would they spray you?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get orange and starve myself for 12 weeks. Like that's the process.
I am buzzing. Me and Dad are definitely coming to watch. He is gonna love that.
Oh no, please don't bring Dad.
No, I'm definitely bringing Dad.
It'd be a nightmare.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Although I'm 5 years older than you, I think I've always been the less mature one, and that's only become more apparent as you've reached adulthood. But With regard to the bodybuilding, so is this something you see, is it purely a hobby, or would you like to potentially make that a career?
I don't know if it would be a career in like the traditional sense of this is the only place I'd make money from it. I look up to guys like Jay Cutler and that kind of thing who have, like, obviously his physique is amazing, but the way that he's made a business out of all of it is just insane as well. Like, he's very much a business bodybuilder, as well as guys like Fuad Abiyad, who he has a podcast as well, actually, and that's where I've learned a lot from. Like, some of them are a bit more informative, and then you've got more conversation-based ones between a few people.
Well, yeah, that's a bone I had to pick with you, actually. Podcast Luke, I don't know if I told you about this, but brother Luke shared he shared on his Instagram story this like bodybuilder podcast. He was like, easily the best podcast around at the moment.
Oh,
what the fuck?
mate, I think we're gonna have to call this one quits now.
Well, that's a bodybuilding like centered podcast. This is general life, you know.
Yeah,
no, that's fair enough. I mean, in terms of so you were talking about that guy in the podcast and the way he's made it into a business, but what does his business actually incorporate, and what's he done that you would like to kind of model from?
It's very much sort of like the lifestyle. Like, you can't just be a bodybuilder for an hour. Like, it's a 24/7 thing, like 5-6 meals a day. Yeah, you're only training for an hour and a half, but you can't then go out and like get wasted on a Friday, Saturday.
I'm out there.
Like many uni students do during the week. Like, I'm in bed by 9:30, and it sounds ridiculous, but when it goes dark, I don't turn a light on. Like, I quite like sitting in the dark, and because it gets your brain ready to go to sleep. Like, I'll put a podcast on for 20 minutes, and after that I'm like sparko, completely out. Like, occasionally I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, my phone's listened to like 3 podcasts while I was asleep because I just didn't turn it off.
Well, yeah, that's the thing with like, so a lot of athletes, like, so a good example is, like, this is probably an easy one to just reference because it's something me and Luke are really interested in, is like MMA fighters. So they are obviously in peak condition when they're fighting, but that's because they've done a fight camp leading up to it. So for like 8-9 weeks, sometimes 12 weeks, but usually it's like 6 to 9 weeks, they will just be eating like perfectly clean, training fucking twice a day minimum, like sleeping well, proper looking after themselves. But in between the rest of that time, when they're not fighting, they just fucking live like normal. Like, that's why they weight cut so much, because they eat loads, they get out of shape. They don't get out of shape, they're always in shape, but they don't have to take care of themselves quite as consistently as bodybuilders do. Like, it's way more of a lifestyle. Like, you have to live like that pretty much constantly.
Yeah, like, I'll have a meal here and there that will be like something other than what I'd normally eat, but like, I eat the same things most days. And then, like, even if I have an off-plan meal, it'll be sushi, something like that. And the pump after a sushi meal is like ridiculous. So I'll happily have that.
Yeah.
So talk to us about your meal plan. So what would you actually go through and eat on a daily basis?
The first meal is always eggs and like a potato with some vegetables. The second one will be the pre-workout meal. So that's just something easily digestible, which will be cream of rice, whey protein, and a banana with a bit of dark chocolate. 3 and 4 are the same: red meat, rice, spinach, and courgette. And then the last one is Greek yogurt and almond butter with some berries.
And what
count
are you at with that?
At the moment, 3,300, and like, it's quite challenging some days. Like, anyone can go and binge eat 6,000 calories, but like, if you try and do that every single day, your body cannot hack it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously it's not as hard as being starving, but it's a different kind of battle. Like, you're bloated. Like, I woke up and I was like, I'm so full. Like, why?
But you have
So
to.
when you can't be missing a meal, because like that's your progress. Like you need to chase your progress. It's the same thing as putting an extra plate on at the gym. Like it's more food.
Well, I guess that's something I can ask you actually, because I would like, this is something you hear like gym heads kind of talk about. What percentage, like, so people say like, oh, it's 10% like lifting weights and stuff like that, and it's 90% what you eat. Like, which one is more important to like as the other, like comparatively? What would you say?
Well, if you take a person and they go and lift weights, and then their twin goes and eats a clean diet, who's going to make more progress? It's going to be the guy who's lifting weights.
Okay.
But if they're both lifting weights, one of them eats whatever the hell they want, and one of them eats proper food and like fuels their body, their progress is going to skyrocket. Like you need both of them, but nutrition is just as important, if not more, when you want to take it to another level. Like that's what you need to do. Just briefly back to what you said about like comparing it to MMA, a bodybuilder called Stan Efferding has just started working with John Jones, and he's like, obviously you know who John Jones is, and like he's sort of trying to manage all of the needs of his different coaches and everything like that. And like I've found his approach to diet has been very helpful to me, because probably a month or two back, I was like approaching 3,000 calories, and like I was ridiculously full and I just couldn't get through food. But his whole diet model is get all of your macronutrients from food. Like the only thing I supplement are vitamin D and fish oil, because unless you're pounding back salmon or you live in a really hot country, you're not going to get those nutrients. So you get like the minimum amount of nutrients that you can, and then you just eat red meat and rice, like just easily digestible. Your body can churn through it. And it's just like the perfect thing you need to do to fuel yourself, really.
What, red meat and rice?
No, just easily digestible food.
Okay.
Like, and rice is very easily digestible. Like I can't really.
If I eat rice, mate, it fucks my day. Maybe it's because of how much of it I'm eating, but like I have like a bloated stomach for the rest of the day if I eat rice.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Some people, they like their body reacts differently to everything. Like that's partly why I was so excited to come back to uni, other than like the independence of not having to worry about my mum stabbing me if I make a mess in the kitchen. But, like, that
doesn't get any better as you get older.
That's a whole different battle, because now I've got like flatmates who are just so grimy and disgusting. Like there's chicken in the fridge that went on a date 3 days ago.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, why are you not eating your food?
Why are you keeping chicken that's out of date in there?
Yeah, literally.
More than anything.
But there's something I want to mention, just so that anyone listening is aware of how seriously he takes this food thing. When I last saw him, when I was back a couple of weeks ago, yeah, you know exactly what I'm about to say.
I know exactly what you're going to say.
He was eating this thing called cream of rice, which I'd never heard of before. It's basically just like rice pudding. It's like oats. It's like oats, but instead of it being oats, it's rice. If that makes sense, it sounds really stupid, but like
it's literally just blended rice.
Yeah, but
so your body can digest it even faster than it can rice.
But he has
sounds minging.
So he puts like protein powder and berries and stuff in it. Yeah. And I was like, I kind of want to try some. I just want to see what it's like. Had a big Tupperware full of it, like enough for about 3 people. And I was like, let's have a try then. And he was like, no. I was like, let me just have like 1 spoonful. And he was like, well, no, I've weighed out exactly what I need.
But this is my meal. Like when people try and take my food, I'm like, what is this? This isn't like, we're not sharing here. This is my food. You have your food. Like,
yeah. See, I'm like that if I've got like KFC or a pizza or a Chinese, but if I've just got a bowl of rice pudding, which I wouldn't eat anyway because it's grim, you know, someone wants to share it. But I mean, it's good. It shows dedication, and to be honest, it shows that there's a lot more self-discipline, which I think is probably the most important thing, isn't it?
Well, mate, like, so what I was saying earlier about you being more mature than me, Luke, like, even though I'm the older one, like, so a couple of things I think about, like, so obviously you've been at uni this year, and I'll speak to you, and you'll just be like, I'll be like, what have you been up to? Anything good? And you were like, Oh no, not really. Like, I don't really want to go to a motive because I don't want to be like sweaty in a kitchen with like 40 people.
Oh,
Whereas
it's
when I was at uni, that
ridiculous.
was my bread and butter. Like, that's what I was about, like just getting seshy in a kitchen. But doesn't interest you at all. And you've just always been really like, if you decide you're going to do something like you have with the bodybuilding, like you will just dedicate your life to it, and you're just so on job with it, and you don't let anything sort of distract you. Like, have you, because obviously we didn't live together growing up, so I would only see you at weekends and stuff, so I don't really know. But like, have you always been like that, and what do you think kind of instilled that in you?
I think it was just a gradual change over time. Like nothing really clicked, but like the whole first year of sixth form, I was happily getting drunk like 2-3 days a week easily, like finishing off a bottle of vodka. And then after I broke up with one of my girlfriends, like that whole summer was a bit of a mess. But then I went back to sixth form and just sort of, I think that's when it clicked and I started to take the gym more seriously. And I was like, even now, you see a lot of people getting into relationships when they're just looking for a person. They don't care who it is. Like realistically, you need to work on and improve yourself before you're ready to be involved with anyone else. And like that's what I see this as, is a constant journey of self-improvement. Like I'm content with where I am now, but that doesn't mean that I'm not going to push on.
Mate, that's such a good, like, I can't believe you have that mindset at 19. That's crazy. Like, I worked that out about 2 months ago. like you hear like pro athletes and stuff, you hear them talk, you hear them say that all the time, like you can't settle for where you're at, like you need to be constantly pushing yourself and trying to progress, and you seem to have figured that out at such a young age. And mate, like I talk about it all the time. Whenever I talk to anyone about like my family and stuff, I literally always mention you, because I'm like, I don't know where he got it from or how he ended up like it, but mate, you're just so driven and like determined. Like I was speaking to Rosie about it earlier. I was like, he's just gonna, because we were saying about, do you remember when you nearly didn't go uni because you weren't gonna go? You were.
Yeah, I was going to go and do an apprenticeship.
Yeah, exactly. But like, whether you went or whether you, I basically said to you that you should go just purely. It's a bit shit that it ended up being COVID, because I said you should go purely for like the social side of things, if anything. But
yeah, that didn't age well at all, did it?
nice one, Khan, you fucking idiot. But no, yeah, like regardless of whether you went or not, like you've had these sort of conversations with me since you were like 17, and I've just always clocked that you had this really forward thinking and like determined mindset. So I knew you were going to be successful wherever you ended up going or whatever you ended up doing. But mate, like I just think it's really admirable. And something I wanted to bring up, is it for the Barbell Society? You've just been made the treasurer or something like that?
Yeah, I was elected the treasurer for the next academic year.
And what does that entail?
So that's managing like the budget for the club and yeah, and just sort of, it's one of the more senior positions, so it's helping the president and the secretary like manage whether it be powerlifting competitions or the weightlifting events, because we do have some weightlifters. The bodybuilding side of it is very limited at the moment, something I'd like to encourage, because I know a lot of people originally get into lifting weights because they want to improve themselves. And what you said about me being successful, I don't think I'm successful, but I'd like to think I'm on the road to getting somewhere. And like that's why I think I wanted to do an apprenticeship, because it was the day-to-day thing. Like, and that's the same sort of thing with bodybuilding. Like I get up, I do my cardio, I eat my meals. It's the everyday that counts.
Yeah.
It's not like something in a couple of months' time. It's, if you don't do it every single day, like you're not really committed. You're not dedicated to it. And I do know where that came from. You said, I don't know, but it came from my mum. Like like what she does. She wakes up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go and ride horses, and then she goes and cleans, and it's just, she gets in at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then she has to sort out like Leia now, but in the past it was me and Leia, pick us up from school, take Leia to a multitude of clubs. Like, I swear she does something every two, like she does like 2 things a day.
Karate,
like Leia's
hockey,
our little sister.
Yeah, so I've got, me and Luke share a little sister called Leia. Luke and Leia, our dad fucking loves Star Wars.
Legend. Yeah.
Star Wars.
But that's the thing, Luke. So yeah, like I kind of always assumed it was from like Maria, your mum, because like we've got the same dad, and I am very much like he like more like him than you are, just in the sense of like I'm when Dad listens to this, he's going to be like, you little motherfuckers. But like,
exactly where you're taking it as well.
In a sense of being like just disorganized and a little bit like crazy. But like, Dad's always been a hard worker, but like your mum is very like on job. Like she just has always just got shit done. And like you say, for pretty much your whole life, she's been, getting up at 5, going and riding horses, coming home, sorting you and Leia out. And do you think that's where you've got your work ethic from? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I admire her so much. Like if I could ever work as hard as she has, like that's it. Realistically, that is being successful.
Yeah, but I think you do, man.
Like
you work so hard.
There's definitely areas that I can improve in. Like there's always something that you can be better at, realistically. But I'd always used to wonder, like when it was, I've mentioned this to you, but like it will get to 9 o'clock and she sort of switches, like that's her time. Like you don't go and irritate her during that hour before she goes to sleep. And I get that, because like if my flatmate tries and knocks on my door when it comes to 9 o'clock, like it sounds psychotic, but I'm in the dark. I'm getting ready to go to sleep. Like I've just got back from my last 10-minute walk. And I'm like, I'm chilling out. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to relax now. So I completely understand it. And you need that wind down time. Like, you can't just be sat on your phone scrolling through, like, lights blare, and like, you're not going to get to sleep. You're not going to relax. You're not going to recover.
I'm a disaster.
Yeah. Oh, mate.
I mean, if we want to make some comparisons here as well, Luke, and it's like I went out for a couple of drinks last night. And I was just proud of myself today that 1, I've done the podcast, and 2, I managed to go and train. And I was just proud. Like that's me. I was like, I don't need to do anything else today. As long as I've done those 2 things, I feel like I've had an incredibly productive day.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the little goals. Like my little goals is getting my meals in or going to train, whatever. And that's what you've done. You're like, I've been productive. I've got the podcast done, and I've gone and trained. Like, you're making improvements in your life constantly.
Oh yeah, most hangover days I don't do anything. I normally eat takeaways and play FIFA.
Yeah. Well, mate, like I always attribute, because you're in your first year of uni, I attribute it to my first year of uni. Any of my mates who knew me in first year of uni listening to this will know, like, I used to sleep about 1 hour a night if I would sleep at all. I wouldn't really eat. Like, one time I thought I was sick because like my parents came to visit. They dropped off a box of like instant noodles, which had like 30 packets of noodles in. So I remember, like, vividly remember saying to my housemate, like, sweet, I've literally got dinner for the next month. Like, I don't have to buy food for a month. I just have a packet of noodles a day and I'm sweet. Like, that's how I used to live my life in first year of uni. Like, and you're just so on job with it, and are so like I've had to progressively sort myself out to the point where like it would be like, all right, sweet, I've had a hot meal today, I'm fucking killing it. Like
I've bought a kettle, I've put it in some plastic things that are basically called noodles. But I mean, to be fair, Khan, that's probably because you just actually, did you go uni before Australia?
Yeah. So I just got back from traveling, mate, and you remember what I was like then as well. So
yeah.
I carried that same energy into university. If anything, got way worse.
Luke, you should have seen him. He was dreadful.
Oh, his hair was dreadful when he got back. I can't imagine like that.
Mate, you've just fucking had yours cut off, so you've got Luke. Literally a couple of days ago, he had hair.
I saw the I had a scan through your Instagram, and the mullet was on point.
That was the biggest reason why I got rid of it though, was because it was like getting in the way of my training. Like I
How?
spoke to Khan and I was like, I might just shave it all off, you know, like
Yeah.
it will just be so much more convenient. Because like it comes, like I tie it up and it would just come loose and like get in my face. I'm like, why? Literally just
To
why.
be fair, mate, if you're going to be bodybuilding on stage, I reckon you need to shave your head. Or, please get a mohawk, like a shaved mohawk.
Well, you know the reason that a lot of like bodybuilders and strongmen have them is to hide the receding bit from like the steroid use.
Yeah, because like it recedes, but they still have the forward bit.
Yeah. Because it's the corner bits that go back first.
Yeah.
That's why.
Because of steroids.
Yeah, androgenic alopecia. It's something that I've looked into.
Say that again.
Supercalifragilistic.
Yeah, was that just the alphabet?
Yeah, that's the one. You've got it.
Wait, what's it called?
Androgenic alopecia. That's what it's called anyway. Like
Okay.
that's just like going bald.
Oh,
But it's
okay.
it's induced by steroids. Not in everyone. Like if you got top tier hair genetics, like you see people in their 50s that have got like a full head of hair, like they're just gone through puberty, and then there's some people who go bald when they're 20. Like it just all depends.
No, you've sparked my interest in this, the steroid side of things, because a lot of people, and I find this on Instagram, a lot of the fitness people are, oh no, never done it, never blah, 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 blah. I mean, what's the kind of realistic side of that?
It's probably a load of bollocks. Like, if you're telling me that you look better than a lot of pro bodybuilders before they took steroids, why have you not taken them and become a pro bodybuilder? Like, surely that doesn't make sense, because you'd make a hell of a lot of money. Like, a lot of them are, and I understand why they lie about it, but because of the whole negative thing of like, oh, steroids do all the work, you're not trying. In my opinion, all you've done is raise the bar a couple of meters, and you've gotten like a stool to stand on. Like you've got to push even harder to get those results. It's just a whole nother level you can take it to.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? Like, there's a lot of, well, you're familiar with this term, Luke, you probably are as well, fake natties, which is like these dudes who are literally built like fucking bus shelters, and in their bio it'll be like, yeah, natural bodybuilder, rah, rah, rah. And it's like, the big one for me, and Luke,
That's in my bio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm built like a bus shelter.
Mate, my mum asked me once if I was taking steroids because I had like a little post-gym pump on, and I was like, oh, like, get a grip.
I've just necked them all.
If I was taking steroids, I want my fucking money back.
But I was in like an extra large top the other day training at the gym that you first took me to. And Pat McAleese was like, oh, mate, you're making some solid progress. And he was like, you're not taking steroids, are you? I was like, no.
Yeah, fucking hell, Pat. He's a good guy. Pat is
he's a legend. Yeah.
He used to be a professional boxer, but he works at a gym. Where we're from. He used to train me when I was really young. But yeah, so there's all these like bodybuilders, and Luke, you basically pointed out to me, like, there are guys who are making more progress in their mid-30s than they were in their mid-20s, despite the fact they're saying they're natural, which is like scientifically impossible, because you shouldn't be able to do that. When you turn 30, you lose like 1% muscle mass every year, don't you?
I'm not sure on the figures of it, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like if you put natural in your bio, that is the most sus thing going. Like, why? Why would you do it? Like, just if you do take steroids and you can't talk about it because of a contract, or you don't want to, like, just don't mention it. Don't respond to people asking, but don't be like, oh yeah, I'm natural. This is achievable natural. Do my workout and you'll look like me.
Yeah.
Like, it's years of dedication that these guys have put in, whether or not they have taken anything.
But I guess that's the big problem with it. You kind of just hinted on it there, is do this and you'll look like me. And that's a big problem with social media and Instagram in general. Like, people look at what other people look like and they're like, well, if I just do what they do, I'll look like them. And it's like, well, no, because you're also not pumping in all the chemicals that they are. And although it does have negative connotations to it, in the long run, it's much better for them to just be honest, because then people aren't going to, like, there's not going to be hundreds of thousands of lads going to the gym thinking, if I just do 3 sets of 12 bicep curls, I'll have massive arms, like, because it's not that simple.
Yeah, and if you look at the guys that have been honest, like, there's one guy from the UK. Personally, I don't really like him, but that's just like a personality thing. Like, his channel was absolutely exploded and he's honest about everything. And a company actually approached him and said, like, we'll sponsor you, but you can't say you take steroids, so you've got to take down those videos and that kind of thing. And he's like, well, no. Like, that completely, I would lose all integrity. Why would I do that?
But the cat's already out of the bag at that point. He's already said you can't.
Yeah, it was a bit of a stupid thing from them. I don't really get that, because obviously,
surely they should have been like, well, actually, yeah, we know you do this. Why would they have approached him in the first place?
Yeah. Who was it? Was
exactly.
Gymshark?
No, I don't think he was a Gymshark athlete. Actually, he didn't mention the company because he doesn't want to give them negative press.
Yeah, because they get a lot of negative press from, like, certain people, because there are, like, people in the fitness industry on YouTube, like, I don't know if you've heard of them, podcast Luke, but more plates, more dates, and Greg Doucette are, like, 2 channels who kind of dedicate their channels to calling out, like, fake natural lifters.
Okay, that seems like a massive waste of time, but
yeah, well, no, mate, they're so successful. But, like, and they do
I imagine they are, but still a waste of time.
They do it on a lot of UFC fighters as well. Like, so they done one on Paulo Costa, because, like, there's no way that guy's natural. Look at the fucking state of him. And the
guy looks like a house.
Yeah, mate, he's fucking ridiculous. He's fighting at middleweight and he's like the size of a super heavyweight. It makes no sense. But yeah, they kind of call them out, and I don't know how they manage to ignore it, as if there aren't millions of people watching that video who just know. Like, you must have to just almost have blinders on to just ignore that everyone's kind of aware of what you're doing and just to consistently deny it.
Yeah, I personally don't understand it, because it's not something that I would ever do. Like,
that's it. I've spoken to you about it loads, because obviously the kind of world you're going into, I've always been like, is that something that you'd end up doing eventually? But you've always said no.
At some point I would consider it, but, like, I've been training for 3 years. Like, I can make a lot of decent progress for at least another 5 years. And it is very much part of the industry, but you hear about these horror stories, and I'm not saying it's entirely the person's fault, but a lot of the time it's just because they've been stupid. Like, that happens with anything. You can take too much of anything and you'll end up, like, absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
Like, if you drink too much water in a short space of time, it can destroy your body.
I get water headaches because I'll be like, shit, I try and drink, like, so when I had a reusable bottle, which I've, like, misplaced, so I'm just drinking out of a glass now like a regular person. But I used to try and drink like 10 bottles of water a day, which would be like 5 litres.
Not 10 separate bottles, no?
No, so one bottle
he refilled.
And you just okay, I was just going to call you a dick for using that much plastic.
No, obviously, no, I've got a reusable bottle. I don't hate the planet.
The environmentally friendly podcast.
Yeah. But, so that's like 5 litres of water, but I'd get to like halfway through the day and be like, shit, I've only had 1 bottle of water. So I'd like neck one, fill it up like 3 times. And then all of a sudden, like, you genuinely feel like, you feel pissed. Like, your eyes start to hurt, your head starts to hurt, you need to sit down. And it's just because you've taken on too much water, like, too.
Is that why it is?
Yeah.
I always do that before I go to bed. If I've had a few drinks, I'll wake up at 3 in the morning and I'm parched. Yeah. And I wake up and I'll down loads of water, and then I go back to bed and I'm like, oh, I feel grim.
No, it will also be all the drinking, but
well, yeah, I mean,
the alcohol probably doesn't help.
That's what
Yeah,
I want.
it's water's fault. Alcohol is completely fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's definitely the water.
Well, that's.
And I mean, I can drink more than 3 glasses of beer and not feel bad. So 3 cups of water, you know, I think
Yeah.
it is water's problem.
Seems
Water
reasonable.
versus beer, which is better? That's a conversation that needs to be had. But
Depends on the context, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. It does. If you're trying to get people pissed, don't pick water. But
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
one thing I want to throw at you. So when was the last time you had, like, Luke was saying he doesn't share if he has like a KFC or a McDonald's? When was the last time you had anything like that?
I couldn't even tell you.
Really?
Drum roll.
Like, I don't know. I think it was before I started at uni, actually.
So like over a year ago?
No, like September time last year, yeah.
What about...
But like, it just, because my body's so used to eating the same things, like, it doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Like, it bogs me down completely. Like, I've realized I can't even eat oats now. Like, they don't agree with me. Like, whereas I know you love oats.
I don't know if I love them. I eat them
But yeah,
because I can put fruit in them and I can put protein powder in there, and it's like a good, like, sort of healthy-ish meal with I can get a lot of protein in, but I don't sit there and like enjoy it. I kind of just wolf it down.
Yeah,
But
whereas it just bogs me down, like, and especially with the amount of food I'm trying to eat, like, I have to take oats out of my breakfast just because, like, I was full for the whole rest of the day. But like, if I have a potato now, like, I'm hungry an hour later, which is awesome. Like, that's a win. That's a win. But like, when it comes to prep, like, I'll probably bring oats back in because it keeps me fuller for longer.
I see.
You know what I mean?
So give us a timeline then. When, obviously I know it's COVID dependent, when are you hoping to be on stage?
Probably March or April next year.
Oh, March, that's my birthday. That would be good.
Yeah, the season sort of goes from late March to October, November time, that kind of thing. So my plan for summer is just continue growing, like, relatively slowly, because I want to stay in some good condition. But I've been trying to work on the whole mental aspect of, okay, I'm gonna get a bit fluffy, I'm gonna lose my abs.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, abs aren't the goal. Abs are a byproduct of being lean with size. Like,
Yeah.
size is the goal.
Well, that's it, because you've always been quite lean. Like, you don't really have any fat on you. But yeah, if you're going to be, the thing with bodybuilding is you have to kind of get, like, not fat, but like you say, fluffy, and then lose that.
Especially in the early years.
Especially
like a lot of the big guys, like, there's a whole scene now of, like, staying really lean, and you look at the guys on social media who, like, yeah, stay lean year round. Obviously they're in sick shape, but they're small. Like, they are small, realistically. And it's part of the process. You've just got to trust the process.
Yeah, I guess so. Trust the process. I mean, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm a bit sick of the term "trust the process" at the moment, because...
Oh, is that one of their phrases?
Well, no, basically, ever since I love, this is going off on a right tangent now, but I love Mikel Arteta as a manager, but since we've had him, the whole thing has been trust the process, and
when's the process gonna fucking work?
We're shitter than we are literally, statistically, shitter than we've ever been. But it's good that you can use trust the process in a positive light.
Well, if the process has still got to give you some results along the way.
Yeah.
So, okay, I might be getting a bit fluffier and putting on a tiny bit of fat, but my lifts are going up, like, every single week, especially since being back at the gym, because my body's still not used to the stimulus. Like, this is such a good time to grow. My lifts have gone up every single, like, week so far, and hopefully that can carry on. Yeah, it's not, in a couple of months' time, it's not going to be 5 kilos added to the bar each week. It's going to be half a kilo.
Yeah.
But that's still progress.
What are your lifts at the moment, like the 3 big ones? What's your bench, squat, and deadlift?
Well, I'm working on my squat at the moment. just trying to fix my mobility with some physio work. So I'm just learning the movement again, because it's always been a bit of a problem for me with flat feet and a lack of ankle mobility and support because of that. So it's not trying to load the movement. The biggest squat I've done was 100 for 2, about 57 kilos, something like that. Deadlift I haven't done since I got back, but I was doing some rack pulls today at 120. And then bench is definitely my strong suit, because short arms, short body, like it's easy. So my working weight for bench is the same as my previous working weight for squats. So like I'll rep out 70, and yeah, I really enjoy bench, to be fair, but it's not the best bodybuilding movement. I do it because I enjoy it. Like, you need to enjoy what you're doing, or you're not going to stick to it.
100%. You have to find that balance with working out. Like there are parts of it that you're just going to hate. Like especially now, because I'm trying to get my cardio up, so I have to run a lot and like I've been doing like sprints and stuff, and I don't think I'm ever going to enjoy that particularly. Like, I've just kind of resigned myself to the fact I fucking hate it, but it's necessary. But you've got to have those things that you do regardless of how much you don't want to work out that day. There's an exercise where you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to enjoy this one.
Yeah, exactly. Like this morning I looked outside and it was a bit rainy. I was like, oh, I've got to walk to the gym and do cardio. Like, that's not particularly enjoyable. It's not really what I want to do this morning. But you're going there, you've got a purpose. Like, especially when you're trying to put on more weight, you need to keep your heart accustomed to that. And like you were saying with the runs, you've got to look at it that's going to help you get better striking, like endurance, whatever else you're doing. Like it has a purpose. You don't just want to try and get through it.
Yeah,
like you're running with a purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all, like you say, he's just thinking about the end goal. And running and feeling horrible is one thing, but being out of breath, feeling horrible, and someone's trying to punch you in the head, that's going to be pretty worse. So you need to
Exactly.
You need to get used to it. But yeah, man.
Or it's not even.
Go on.
Sorry, it's not even the end goal; it's the next goal. So instead of it being for you when you have a fight, it could just be the next time you spar. Like, can you last a bit longer and you don't feel so out of breath?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Or can you last a little bit longer and not get knocked out?
Yeah,
exactly. Or maybe even knock the other guy out. Yeah, maybe
got choked out in the second round and not the first.
Yes. I didn't break my nose until the 20th minute.
Yeah, perfect. Oh man, well look, I don't want to keep you much longer because as we've discussed, it's getting very close to when you need to start winding down. Luke, podcast Luke, do you have anything else you would like to ask?
No, I mean, I guess the only thing is, well, yeah, your next goals, but we spoke a bit about that earlier, but what, if people follow you and listen to this podcast, what can they look forward to in the next few months?
To be honest, all they're going to see is me lifting weight, grunting, and progressively getting a bit fluffier. And
grunting more.
Adding some size, yeah, basically.
Well, we will be putting all your socials in the bio so that people can follow that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, you'll see the occasional, well, very frequent grimace face in some videos of me looking like I'm in extreme pain. But if you've seen Khan train, you know what it looks like as well, because we both make the exact same face.
Yeah.
You also sound very similar.
So.
Yeah.
You reckon we look alike?
No.
Comparison.
No. He looked exactly like his mum.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's a fair comment.
Oh, God. All right, mate. Well, look, it's been lovely to chat to you, as always. And
yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you very much for giving us an hour of your time. And I will probably speak to you tomorrow. But yeah, nice to chat to you. I hope some people have taken something away from this. I definitely have, man. Your mindset is crazy. You've got such a good head on your shoulders, and not to end it on a soppy note, but I'm just super proud of you, mate. You're smashing it, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing you all tanned up, fucking in your little Y fronts on the stage, giving it all that. So
I'm looking forward to seeing the pictures from it. It'd be a bit weird if I came to the show, but but no, good luck for that, obviously, mate. And I think the most important thing people can take away from this is just that little bit of inspiration, and that's probably what they could see by looking on your page as well. So, as always, we'll chuck everything in the bio. Most importantly, thanks for coming on, firstly, Luke. But thanks to people for listening. We're hoping that you're enjoying it. And we're looking forward to bringing out more episodes coming very soon. But yeah, peace and love.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been a great conversation. Nice to finally meet you, Luke. I've heard a lot about you.
Yeah, nice to finally meet you, man.
Right, cheers, guys.